So I was able to bamboozle one of the biggest Guild Wars 2 content creators out there, WoodenPotatoes. He's been making content for over 10 years. If you've ever touched Guild Wars 2 in the past, chances are you've probably watched a video from this guy. So how was I able to fool WoodenPotatoes? I was able to become an NPC.
Hey, which way to the outhouse?
An NPC is a non-playable character. You might be thinking, moopliss, that's not even possible to become an NPC. I'm here to tell you that it is. If you believe long enough and hard enough, anything is possible. Okay, so maybe I didn't become an NPC in the game, but I was able to look like one and act like one, and that was enough to actually prank WoodenPotatoes into thinking that I was Evan Nashblade.
Yeah, there you go. That's a nice area. Is that Evan there as well? Ah, it's a player cosplaying as Evan. Make sure you vote for me to the Captain's Council. That's awesome. Really, I'm amazed how good his cosplay is too. I actually thought he was the NPC there.
Evan Nashblade is one of the NPCs in the game that roams around Lion's Arch. I saw one day that WoodenPotatoes was streaming his reaction to the old Lion's Arch being released back into the game. And I had an idea in my head. I have a lookalike Evan Nashblade. In fact, I've created way too many NPC replicas on my account. I never have time to play as all of them, but it's pretty cool. If I ever want to run around the game as Balthazar, Zoja, Logan Thackeray, Ritlock Brimstone, I'm able to do that. So I jumped onto Evan Nashblade, I ran over to Lion's Arch, and I started to act like an NPC. Now is the question, how does one act like a non-playable character? Through lots of studying. Just like actors are able to study a person in order to portray a character very well, I was able to do the same thing by looking at NPCs in the game, examining their behavior, and being able to create it or replicate it while playing the game. So I can walk you through the tutorial of how to become an NPC in Guild Wars 2.
NPC.
The first thing you want to nail down in order to look like you're an NPC is walk like one. These NPC characters have very snappy movement. Again, they're non-playable characters, so they're just programmed and mapped out to follow a certain path in the game, and they will basically do that based off of pinpoints. So they will walk to one location, get to the other location, and then they will snap to the next line where they walk in a straight line to the very next location. It's very quick and snappy movement. If you've ever seen marching bands perform, it's kind of like this in a sense. So I guess my experience in marching band back in high school when I played the saxophone has paid off. Yeah, that's right. I bet you didn't know I played saxophone back in the day. And if you didn't know, and you just learned it right now, then you have to smash like on the video and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please! The next thing you might want to learn is how NPCs behave when they're in combat. They actually never unsheath their weapons unless they're in a threatened or dangerous situation. So take a look at some of the NPCs in World vs. World. They will just guard there at the gates, standing, chilling, kind of doing their own thing. But if an enemy player comes up, they will unsheath their weapons and kind of go after you. Once you're out of range or out of combat, then they will sheath their weapons and walk back to the location. So if you're able to basically sheath your weapons when there's no danger nearby, and then you're actually able to take out your weapons as soon as there's danger close by, then you've become an NPC in the game. It's pretty much that easy. Another tip, most NPCs don't run in the game, they will typically walk around. So if you immediately sheath your weapons and start walking, that is a very good way to sell yourself as an NPC. The very last thing to master becoming an NPC is to look like one. Now I know your character has a ton of glowy and flashy looking skins, and a majority of the NPCs actually don't look like that. So maybe you acquire the Seraph armor to look like a Seraph guard. Perhaps you dye your armor correctly so that way you look like you're part of the Blood Legion. Or perhaps you're going for a Professor vibe for an Asura. A lot of this is taking time finding armor pieces and matching up the dye so that way you look like you fit in the world of Tyria. And if you want to look like an exact NPC replica of a certain NPC in the game, no problem. Just go stand right next to that character, make sure you're wearing the correct armor that they have, play around with the dyes a little bit, and if your character is not the certain height level, or their face is a different color, or perhaps you gotta alter the hair color that they have on, then you're gonna wanna purchase a total makeover kit from the gem store, and play around with that for like 10 minutes until you finally have everything put together, and boom, you now look like that NPC you're standing right next to. Now, there are some certain limitations in the game that kind of keep you away from actually becoming an NPC. One of the first things is, well, you have a player name above your head, and although this is a straight giveaway that you're an actual player, if anyone's playing the game where they have player names turned off, it does help. There are other various things in the game, such as not being able to dye your armor pieces correctly. That's right, some NPCs have special dyeing that isn't available for your own armor dyes. I wanted to make Ellen Keel. It's not possible. If I wanted to get different colored pants and a different colored top, that is not possible. Goodbye, moopliss. Time for you to delete this character. It's not gonna happen. Big sad. Some characters have special facial features. For example, like Logan Thackeray, he has kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow that is kind of there for humans, not really. Ritlock has a special face, like his teeth don't line up exactly. And other characters such as Timey and Rox have a special face that isn't available within the total makeover kit. So yeah, there are some limitations, but you can be very creative and basically create a majority of the characters within the game. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Well, essentially,
I am the NPC Master Lord. I'm actually an NPC right now. This whole video is made by AI.
Just kidding, it's not. But I wanted to tell you guys that if I'm able to teach everyone on the internet, or part of the Guild Wars 2 community, on how to create NPCs, then technically, we can make a whole batch of Seraph, and then we can make a whole batch of Char, and jump into World versus World, and basically have a giant battle on which race is better. Is it the humans? Is it the Char? We can gather a crew of Asuras together, and bombard everyone in Lion's Arch. Or perhaps we want to dress up as salad people. Sylvari, my bad. So if you're looking to create your own NPC and roam around with me on EU servers, then feel free to follow my Twitch channel, join my Discord. I'd love to game with you guys. Now, I think it only makes sense to end this video acting like an NPC. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay hydrated, gamers.